3 months had passed since Captain Tejo's crew found the world breaker. The ship was different now. Where there had been holes and damage, there was now smooth metal. New weapon turrets grew like flowers along the hull. The corridors hummed. With power that had been sleeping for 3,000 years, So-Young spent most of her time connected to the ship's neural interface. The blue glow in her eyes had become permanent, but she said it did not hurt anymore. She could control the ship, like it was her own body. She could see through its sensors and think through its computers. The ship is learning from us, she told Dr. Yansu during one of her medical checks. It understands human tactics now. Human ways of fighting. It is becoming something new. Dr. Yansu was worried about So-Young, but the scans showed she was healthy. Different, but healthy. Are you still human? She asked. So-Young smiled. I am more than human now, but I am still me. The crew had grown to 47 people. Commander Hyan-Woo had trained them well. They knew how to operate the alien weapons, and how to repair the strange technology. Most importantly, they had learned to work together as a team. But their peaceful time was about to end. Captain Mira called from her station. We have company. 12 ships approaching fast. Tejo looked at the main screen. The ships were Krek's design, painted with the red skull symbol of Vexstar's pirate fleet. Vexstar was the most feared pirate in 3 sectors. His ships were fast, his weapons were deadly, and he never gave up once. He decided he wanted something. How did they find us? Dongwu asked. Someone talked. Commander Hyan-Woo said grimly. There are too many people who know about us now. The communication system crackled. A harsh voice spoke in broken human language. Human ship, this is Warlord Vexstar. You have something that belongs to me. Surrender now, and I will kill you. Quickly, Tejo activated the transmitter. This is Captain Tejo. We do not have anything that belongs to you. The ancient ship belongs to me. Vexstar roared. I claimed this sector years ago. Everything here is mine. Give me the ship or I will take it from your dead bodies. Counteroffer, Tejo said calmly. Leave now, and we will not destroy you. Vexstar's laughter echoed through the ship. You are in an old wreck with 40 humans. I have 12 warships and 300 warriors. You cannot win. Want to bet? So-Young asked. Her voice came from speakers all over the ship now. She was not just connected to the Worldbreaker anymore. She was part of it. The Krek ships moved into attack formation. They were good ships, fast and well-armed. Against any normal vessel, they would have been deadly. But the Worldbreaker was not normal. All crew to battle stations, Commander Hyan-Woo ordered. Gunners, prepare main weapons. Engineering, give us full power. No, So-Young said gently. Let me show you what this ship can really do. The Worldbreaker moved like a living thing. It turned toward the attacking pirates with fluid grace that no ship should have. The ancient Valdari weapons powered up with a sound like thunder. Impossible, Mira whispered, watching her sensors. The power readings are off the scale. The first Krek ship fired its plasma cannons. The bright energy bolts struck the Worldbreaker's shields and simply vanished. The shields did not even flicker. Our turn, So-Young said. The main cannon fired. Once, the weapon created a beam of pure energy that bent space around it. The beam hit the lead Krek ship and the entire vessel simply ceased to exist. There was no explosion, no debris. One moment the ship was there. The next moment there was empty space. What was that? Tejo asked in shock. Quantum disruptor, So-Young replied. It breaks the bonds between atoms. Very clean. The remaining 11 Krek ships attacked together, firing everything they had. Missiles, energy weapons, and kinetic rounds filled space around the Worldbreaker. But nothing got through the shields. Their weapons cannot hurt us, Dr. Yansu observed. It is like trying to damage a mountain with a hammer. The Worldbreaker fired again. This time it was a different weapon. Energy lances shot out from dozens of gun ports, each one destroying a Krek ship instantly. In 10 seconds, 6 more pirates were gone. Retreat, retreat. Vexstar's voice screamed over the radio, but it was too late. The Worldbreaker was faster than the fleeing ships. So-Young pursued them like a predator hunting prey. The remaining 5 ships died one by one. As they tried to escape, only Vexstar's flagship remained. So-Young could have destroyed it easily, but she had a different idea. Tractor beam, she announced. The Worldbreaker grabbed the Krek ship and pulled it close. The pirate vessel's weapons fired uselessly against the ancient ship's hull. Captain Tejo, So-Young said, would you like to speak with Vexstar? Tejo activated the communication system. Vexstar, this is your last chance. Leave this sector and never come back. You think you have one? Vexstar snarled. I will tell everyone about your ship. The Galactic Council will come. The Theron fleet will come. You cannot hide forever. We are not hiding anymore, Tejo replied. We are announcing ourselves. So-Young released the tractor beam. Vexstar's damaged ship limped away into hyperspace, carrying news of humanity's new weapon to the galaxy. Was it wise to let him go? Commander Hyan-Woo asked. Yes, Dr. Yansu said. Now everyone will know that humanity has the Worldbreaker that changes everything. The crew gathered in the main control room to celebrate their victory. They had faced 12 warships and won without taking any damage, but Tejo was not celebrating. This was just the beginning. He warned them. Vexstar was right about one thing. The Galactic Council will come for us now, and they will bring more than 12 ships. How many more? Mira asked. Hundreds. Commander Hyanwu said quietly. Maybe thousands. Every military force in the galaxy will want to either control this ship or destroy it. Soyoung's voice came from the speakers. Let them come. The Worldbreaker was built to fight entire fleets. We are ready, are we? Taeho asked. We have 47 people. The Galactic Council has millions of soldiers. We have something they do not have. Dr. Yansu said. We have the ship's trust. It chose us. It connected with Soyoung. That has to mean something. It means we are the inheritors. Jihoon said, just like the computer said. But inheritors? Of what? Of a war, Soyoung replied. The Worldbreaker was built to fight an enemy that destroyed the Valdari civilization. That enemy is still out there. How do you know? Taeho asked. The ship's memories, Soyoung said. I can see fragments of the past. The Valdari fought something terrible. Something that eats stars and destroys worlds. They built this ship to stop it, but they failed. And now it is our job to finish what they started. Commander Hein asked. Maybe, Soyoung said. But first, we have to survive the galaxy's reaction to what we have become. Through the ship's sensors, they could see the wreckage floating in space, where the Krek ships had died. 12 powerful warships reduced 2 metal fragments in less than an hour. The Worldbreaker had not even used its most powerful weapons. Captain Mira reported. I am detecting hyperspace signatures. Multiple ships jumping to this location. More pirates. Dongwu asked. No, Mira said, checking her sensors. These are bigger, much bigger, Galactic Council ships. How many? Taeho asked. 24 heavy cruisers. 6 battleships. 2 dreadnoughts. Commander Hyanwu whistled. That is enough firepower to destroy a planet. Good thing we are not a planet, Soyoung said. Her voice carried a note of excitement. Time for a real test. The massive fleet dropped out of hyperspace in perfect formation. At their head was the pride of the Theran Navy, the battleship Dominator. It was 3 kilometers long and carried enough weapons to glass a continent. Unknown vessel, a crisp military voice said over the radio. This is Admiral Kexion of the Galactic Council. You are in violation of multiple laws. Surrender immediately or face destruction. Taeho looked around at his crew. They were frightened but determined. They had come too far to give up now. Admiral, he replied. This is Captain Taeho of the human vessel Worldbreaker. We decline your offer. Then you have chosen death. Admiral Kexion said. All ships, open fire. The Galactic Council fleet attacked with everything they had. The space around the Worldbreaker filled with energy beams, missiles, and projectiles. It was the largest military attack in decades. When the weapons fire cleared, the Worldbreaker floated unchanged. Not a single scratch marked its hull. Impossible, Admiral Kexion whispered over an open channel. Our turn, Soyoung said cheerfully. The battle that followed would be remembered for 1,000 years. The Worldbreaker moved through the enemy fleet like death itself, destroying ships with weapons that should not have existed. The Galactic Council's best warships died like insects. When it was over, only 3 ships remained of the mighty fleet. Admiral Kexion's flagship was one of them, badly damaged and powerless. Admiral Taeho said over the radio, tell the Galactic Council that humanity is no longer their servant race. We are their equals now, and if they want war, we will give them one they will never forget. The surviving ships jumped to hyperspace, carrying the impossible news back to the galactic government. Now what? Dr. Yansu asked. Now, Taeho said, we prepare for the real war. Captain Taeho stared at the scanner screen and rubbed his tired eyes. The numbers did not change. His small mining ship Resilience had been searching the void sector for 3 days without finding anything valuable. Most captains avoided this part of space. The Galactic Council had marked it as dangerous territory, but Taeho needed money badly. Captain, you should see this, called Mira from her station. She was his second in command and had worked with him for 5 years. Her voice sounded strange and excited. Taeho walked over to her console. What did you find? Mira pointed at her screen. There is something big out there, really big. The scanner says it is about 10 kilometers long. 10 kilometers. Taeho looked at the readings again. That cannot be right. Nothing is that big, except space stations. The computer checked 3 times, Mira said. It is definitely there. And Captain, it is not moving. It looks dead. Dongwu, their chief engineer, came over to look. He was a quiet man who knew more about machines than anyone Taeho had ever met. Could be a derelict ship, he said slowly, an old warship maybe. In the void sector, Taeho shook his head. No one comes here. This place has been empty for thousands of years. That is what makes it interesting, said Jihoon. He was the youngest member of their crew, only 22 years old, but he was very good with computers and alien technology. Captain, if there really is a ship out there, it could be worth a fortune. Taeho thought about this. His crew had not found anything valuable in months. They owed money to the bank, and fuel was expensive. but the void sector was dangerous for good reasons. Ships that came here sometimes never came back. What kind of ship could be that big? He asked. Dong-Wu studied the scanner data. The metal is strange. I have never seen readings like this. It is not human technology, not Krex or Theron either. This is something else, something old. Mira added, the energy signature is very weak, but it is still there. This ship has been floating here for a long time. Taeho made his decision. Set course for the contact. But keep our shields up and weapons ready. The Resilience moved slowly toward the mysterious object. As they got closer, their cameras began to show them what they had found. Even Taeho, who had seen many strange things in space, felt his mouth fall open. The ship was enormous. It was longer than most space stations and wider than 3 human destroyers placed side by side. The hull was dark gray metal that seemed to swallow light. Strange patterns covered the surface, like writing in a language no one had ever seen. Look at those weapon ports, Mira whispered. There must be hundreds of them. This is a warship, Dongwu said. The biggest warship ever built. Ji-hoon was working quickly at his computer. Captain, I am getting readings from inside the ship. There is still power in some sections. Very little, but enough to keep basic systems running. After how long? Taeho asked. The metal decay suggests this ship has been here for at least 3,000 years. Ji-hoon replied, maybe longer. They flew around the massive vessel, taking pictures and scanning every part they could see. The ship had taken damage from something. There were holes in the hull, big enough to fly their ship through, but most of it was still in one piece. Captain Mira said suddenly, I am picking up a signal. Very weak. It is coming from inside the ship. What kind of signal? I do not know. It is not like anything in our databases. But it keeps repeating. Taeho stared at the giant ship. Every smart part of his brain told him to leave. Ships this old and this big usually meant trouble, but the practical part of his brain thought about the money they owed and the empty fuel tanks. Can we dock with it? He asked Dong-Wu. The engineer studied the hull carefully. There is a docking port on the lower section. It looks damaged, but I think we can make it work. Do it. Dong-Wu carefully brought the Resilience close to the alien ship. The docking port was 3 times bigger than their ship's connector, but he managed to create a seal. The airlock hissed as it pressurized. Air is good on the other side, Mira reported. Whatever this ship is, it was built for creatures that breathe oxygen. Taeho put on his environment suit anyway. Mira, you stay here and monitor communications. If anything goes wrong, you leave immediately. Do not wait for us. Captain, I should go with you, she protested. Someone needs to watch the ship. That someone is you. Taeho, Dongwu, and Ji-hoon entered the alien vessel through the airlock. Emergency lights flickered weakly along the corridors. The hallways were tall enough for creatures 3 meters high, and everything was built on a massive scale. The artificial gravity still works, Dongwu observed, after 3,000 years. What kind of power source could last that long? They walked carefully through the empty corridors. Their footsteps echoed in the darkness. The walls were covered with the same strange writing they had seen on the outside of the ship. Ji-hoon, can you make sense of any of this? Taeho asked. The young man pointed his scanner at the wall markings. Some of it looks familiar. I think parts of it might be related to the old Valdari language. Valdari. Dongwu stopped walking. The Valdari disappeared 3,000 years ago. No one knows what happened to them. Maybe we just found out, Taeho said quietly. They continued deeper into the ship until they reached what looked like a control room. It was huge, with dozens of empty stations arranged in a circle around a central platform. On the platform stood a single active console, glowing with soft blue light. Ji-hoon approached it carefully. Captain, this console is still working. It is trying to communicate with us. Can you understand it? Ji-hoon connected his computer to the alien console. Text began scrolling across his screen, but it was in the strange Valdari symbols. Slowly, the symbols began to change, becoming simpler. Then they turned into basic mathematics. Then simple words in human language. It is learning, Ji-hoon said with excitement. The computer is teaching itself to talk to us. Suddenly, a voice spoke from the console. It was mechanical but clear. Welcome, inheritors. This vessel awaits your command. The 3 humans looked at each other in shock. Inheritors, Taeho asked. What does that mean? The voice continued. I am the guardian of the Worldbreaker. I have waited 3,000 years for your return. The war is not over. The enemy comes again. What enemy? Dongwu asked. But the console went dark. The ship's power had finally died. Ji-hoon quickly checked his readings. Captain, I recorded everything. This ship called us inheritors, and it mentioned a war. Taeho looked around the massive control room. He thought about the enormous weapons they had seen outside. He thought about technology that could keep a ship running for 3,000 years. We are not telling anyone about this, he said finally. Not yet. Captain Mira's voice came through their communicators. Are you all right? I am picking up ships on long-range sensors. Krex pirates. Heading this way, Taeho swore. Pirates were the last thing they needed right now. How long until they get here? He asked. 6 hours, maybe 7. That gives us time to think. Taeho looked at his 2 crew members. We have found something incredible here. Something that could change everything, but if the pirates get it, they will sell it to the highest bidder. What are you suggesting? Dongwoo asked. I am suggesting we take this ship. Ji-hoon stared at him. Captain, this ship is 10 kilometers long. We do not know how to fly it. We do not even know if it still works. Then we better learn fast, Taeho said, because I have a feeling our lives just got very complicated. As they prepared to return to their ship, none of them noticed the faint lights beginning to flicker back to life throughout the massive vessel. The Worldbreaker was starting to wake up. 2 weeks had passed since Captain Taeho and his crew escaped from the Krex pirates. They had managed to get away, but just barely. The pirates had wanted the alien ship, but Taeho refused to tell them about it. Now the Resilience was hidden in an asteroid field, and Taeho was making the most important decision of his life. You want to do what? Mira stared at him like he had lost his mind. I want to go back, Taeho said calmly. That ship is the most valuable thing in the galaxy. We cannot just leave it there. Captain, it is also the most dangerous thing in the galaxy, Dongwoo pointed out. We do not understand that technology. It could kill us, or it could save us, Ji-hoon said quietly. He had been studying the data they recorded from the alien ship. I have been thinking about what the computer said. It called us inheritors. That means something. Taeho nodded. I have been thinking too, and I have been making some calls. He activated the communication system. 2 faces appeared on the screen. The first was Dr. Yansu, a woman with smart eyes and graying hair. The second was Commander Hyanwoo, a man with scars on his face and sadness in his eyes. Taeho, Dr. Yansu said with a smile. It has been a long time. Too long, Taeho replied. They had been close once, before she became famous for studying alien cultures and he became a salvage captain. Commander Hyanwoo looked tired. You said this was important. I hope it is. I do not have much time before they decide what to do with me. Hyanwoo had been a hero once. He commanded a destroyer that saved 3 colonies from Krex raiders. But then he disobeyed orders to save civilian ships, and the military threw him out. Now he was waiting for trial. I need your help with something big, Taeho said. Bigger than anything we have ever seen. He told them about the ship. He showed them the pictures and played the recording of the alien computer. When he finished, both of them were quiet for a long time. Valdari technology, Dr. Hyunsu whispered. A complete Valdari warship. Do you understand what this means? It means trouble, Hyanwoo said. If the Galactic Council finds out about this, they will take it away from humanity. They will never let us keep something that powerful. That is why we have to move fast. Taeho said, Yansu, I need you to study that ship and figure out how it works. Hyanwoo, I need you to help us learn how to fight with it. You are talking about stealing alien technology. Dr. Yansu said, that is against every law in the galaxy. The galaxy has not been fair to humanity, Taeho replied. We get the worst planets, the dangerous jobs, the leftover technology. Maybe it is time we had something good for once. Dr. Yansu was quiet for a moment, then she smiled. When do we start? Commander Hyanwoo shook his head. This is crazy, but I am in. I have nothing left to lose anyway. 3 days later, they met at the hidden asteroid base. Dr. Yansu brought 2 assistants and a ship full of research equipment. Commander Hyanwoo came alone in a small fighter. Together, they returned to the void sector and the waiting alien ship. It looks even bigger than in the pictures, Dr. Yansu said as they approached the massive vessel. Look at the hull. Hyanwoo pointed. Some of those damage marks are healing themselves. He was right. The holes they had seen before were smaller now. The metal seemed to be growing back together, slowly. The ship is repairing itself, Ji-hoon said with excitement. It has been doing it the whole time we were gone. They docked with the alien vessel and went inside. This time, they brought more equipment and more people. Dr. Yoansu immediately started studying the strange writing on the walls. Commander Hyanwoo examined the weapon systems. Ji-hoon worked on understanding the computer, but it was Soyoung, Dr. Yunsu's assistant, who made the first real breakthrough. Soyoung was young and fearless. She was also the best pilot any of them had ever seen. She could fly anything with engines, and some things without them. When she saw the alien control stations, she wanted to try them immediately. I do not think that is safe, Dr. Yansu warned. We do not know what those controls do. Only one way to find out, Soyoung said. She sat down at the main pilot station and put her hands on the strange controls. Immediately, lights began flashing all over the control room. The alien computer voice spoke again. Neural interface initiated. Scanning pilot consciousness. Soyoung, get away from there, Taeho shouted, but Soyoung could not move. The controls had locked around her hands. Her eyes rolled back, and she screamed as electricity ran through her body. The scream lasted for 10 seconds that felt like 10 hours. Then everything went quiet. Soyoung opened her eyes, but they were different now. They glowed with a soft blue light, the same color as the ship's computer displays. I can see it, She whispered, I can see everything, the whole ship, every room, every system, every weapon. It is beautiful. What happened to you? Dr. Yansu asked, scanning Soyoung with her medical equipment. The ship connected with my brain, Soyoung explained. It needed a pilot, someone who could understand it. The connection hurt, but now I can control the ship like it is part of my body. She demonstrated by making the lights in the room change color with just a thought. Then she made the gravity lighter. Then she activated a screen that showed them the view outside the ship. This is incredible, Commander Hyanwoo said. But also dangerous? What if the connection damages your mind? It will not, Soyoung said, confidently. The ship will protect me. It needs me. Over the next few days, they learned amazing things about the ship. It was called the Worldbreaker, and it was designed to fight enemies that could destroy entire planets. The weapons were more powerful than anything in the current galaxy. The shields could stop attacks that would destroy normal ships. But the most amazing thing was how the ship could change itself. Watch this, Soyoung said. She was connected to the ship's computer through cables that grew from the control station. I am going to add a new weapon turret. They watched through the ship's cameras as metal flowed like water across the hull. In minutes, a new weapon appeared where there had been empty space before. The ship can rebuild itself using raw materials, Dr. Yansu explained. It is not just a machine. It is almost alive. That explains how it has been repairing the battle damage, Dongwoo said. It has been slowly fixing itself for 3,000 years. But why did it stop working before? Mira asked. Ji-hoon had the answer. It was waiting. The computer said it was waiting for inheritors to return. It was waiting for us. But why us? Taeho asked. Why humans? I do not know yet, Dr. Yansu admitted. But I am going to find out. While the scientists worked on understanding the ship, Commander Hyanwoo began training the crew on military procedures. More people joined them. Some were friends of Taeho who needed work. Others were former military like Hyanwoo who had nowhere else to go. A few were just adventurers who wanted to be part of something important. This ship needs a crew of at least 50 people to operate properly, Hyanwoo explained. Right now we have 23. We need more engineers, more gunners, more pilots. I can find people, Taeho said, but we have to be careful. The wrong person could betray us to the authorities. Or to the pirates, Mira added. The Kreks are still looking for us. As they worked, the ship continued to change. New rooms appeared. Old damage healed. Weapons that had been broken for thousands of years came back to life. The Worldbreaker was waking up, and it was getting stronger every day. But they were not the only ones who had noticed. Captain Mira called from the communication station. I am picking up long-range transmissions. Someone is talking about a mysterious human ship in the void sector, who Taeho asked. Galactic Council forces, and Kreks pirates, and others. Word is spreading fast. Taeho looked around the massive control room. They had been here for 2 weeks, and they were just beginning to understand what they had found. But their time was running out. How long before someone comes looking for us? He asked. Days, Mira replied. Maybe less. Then we better work faster, Taeho said, because once they find us, everything changes. Soyoung, still connected to the ship's systems, turned to look at him. Her glowing blue eyes were calm but determined. Let them come, she said quietly. The Worldbreaker is ready to fight. For the first time since finding the alien ship, Taeho smiled. Maybe they could actually do this. Maybe humanity was about to become something more than just another small species struggling to survive in a hostile galaxy. But first, they had to live long enough to find out. 1 year later, President Wu Jin stood before the Reformed Galactic Assembly. The Great Chamber looked the same, but everything else had changed. Where once aliens had looked down at humans with contempt, now they watched with respect and fear. Fellow beings, Wu Jin began. We gather today, not as conquerors and conquered, but as partners in a new age of galactic civilization. In the audience, former council leader Vexenara sat quietly. She had been removed from power after the disaster at Cathara Prime. The Valari government had issued formal apologies to humanity and begged for peaceful relations. 1 year ago, you sent us to die on a world you feared to approach. Wu Jin continued. You believed that Cathara Prime would be our grave. Instead, it became our forge. Trade Minister Subin presented the economic reports. Human technology was now in demand throughout the galaxy. Catharian steel was used to build ships that could survive in any environment. Human-designed life support systems allowed other species to colonize worlds they had never dreamed of settling. The Death World Development Initiative, announced, Ambassador Hannah, has identified 47 worlds previously considered uninhabitable. With human assistance, these worlds can support thriving colonies. Species that had been dismissed as too primitive for galactic society were now being re-evaluated. If humans could thrive on a death world, perhaps other species had hidden strengths as well. Admiral Sung-ho oversaw the Terran defense force from his command center on Cathara Prime. Human ships now patrolled the galaxy's most dangerous regions. protecting merchant vessels from pirates and rescuing crews from disasters. They had become the galaxy's protectors, not through conquest, but through demonstrated courage and capability. "Sir," his aide reported, "we have received a distress call from the Rigel system. Asteroid impact, threatening a civilian station. Dispatch the rescue fleet," Sung-Ho ordered, full speed. In her laboratory, Chief Engineer Minna worked with her granddaughter, Young Mi, on humanity's most ambitious project yet, deep space. Exploration vessels designed to travel beyond the galaxy itself. "The engines are tested and ready," Young Mi reported. She was 20 years old, born on Kythera Prime, and stronger than any human in history. "We can reach the Andromeda Galaxy in 50 years and the life support systems, designed to operate for a century without maintenance. We learned well from Kythera Prime," Mina smiled. The world that was meant to kill humanity had taught them to survive anywhere. Now they were ready to take that knowledge to the stars themselves. President Wujin concluded his address to the Galactic Assembly. "You intended to exile us to a world of death. Instead, you gave us a world that taught us how to truly live, how to adapt, how to overcome any challenge." He paused, looking out at the hundreds of alien faces watching him. "Kythera Prime was not our punishment. It was our graduation. And now, we are ready to help the galaxy learn the same lessons we learned on that beautiful, terrible world." As he spoke, Young Mi and her crew prepared to depart for the edge of known space. They would explore new galaxies, discover new worlds, and perhaps find new challenges that would make humanity even stronger. The Death World had done exactly what it was supposed to do. It had forged a species capable of surviving anything the universe could offer. The aliens had been right about one thing: humans were dangerous. They were dangerous to ignorance, to prejudice, to the belief that some challenges could not be overcome. They were dangerous to the idea that exile and punishment could destroy the human spirit. The final entry in the Kythera Prime colonial records read, "They sent us to die on a world they feared to even approach. We made it home." And from that home, humanity reached out to embrace the infinite possibilities of the universe itself. The news spread across the galaxy like wildfire. A human ship had destroyed an entire Galactic Council fleet. Videos of the battle played on every news network in known space. Governments called emergency meetings. Military commanders studied the footage with growing alarm. In the Theran capital, Admiral Kexton stood before the High Command. His uniform was clean, but his face showed the strain of his defeat. Behind him, holographic displays showed the wreckage of his fleet. 33 ships, General Mordock said coldly. 33 of our best warships destroyed by a single human vessel. Explain this. The ship uses technology we do not understand. Admiral Kexton replied. Weapons that disintegrate matter at the quantum level. Shields that absorb any attack. It moves like it is alive. Impossible, said Admiral Zorthik. No technology is that advanced. You must have made tactical errors. Send your own fleet, then Kexton snapped. See how your tactics work against that thing. The High Command argued for hours. Some wanted to negotiate with the humans. Others demanded immediate revenge. But they all agreed on one thing. The human ship had to be stopped. Far away, in the crystal towers of the Keth Collective, Prime Intellect, Zorthok studied the battle data with electronic precision. The Keth were a machine race, created by their biological ancestors long ago. They thought in pure logic, without emotion or fear. Analysis complete, Zorthok announced to the Collective Council. The human vessel exhibits technology consistent with Valdari origin, probability of authentic Valdari artifact, 94.7%. Valdari technology in human hands, another intellect observed. This changes the balance of power significantly. Recommendation, the council asked. The artifact must be secured for study, Zorthok replied. If humans can operate technology, we must learn how. If we cannot take the ship intact, it must be destroyed to prevent further disruption. The Keth began building a fleet. Unlike the Theran, who relied on brute force, the Keth used advanced mathematics and quantum weapons. They were confident their superior technology would succeed where Theran strength had failed. Meanwhile, the Worldbreaker had not been idle. Status report, Captain Tejo requested as he entered the main control room. Ship repairs complete, Commander Hyanwu reported. All weapon systems at full power, crew at 96 people, and growing. More humans had joined them after word of their victories spread. Some were military deserters who wanted to fight for humanity instead of alien governments. Others were civilians who believed in their cause. A few were just thrill-seekers attracted to the most dangerous ship in the galaxy. Dr. Yansu, what have you learned about the ship's history? Tejo asked. The scientist looked tired. She had been studying Valdari records for weeks. The Worldbreaker was their last hope, she said. The Valdari built it to fight something called the Devourers, entities that consume matter and energy itself. What happened to them? Mira asked. The records are incomplete, but it appears the Valdari lost. Their entire civilization vanished 3,000 years ago. Only this ship remained. And now the Devourers are coming back. Dongwu asked nervously. The ship's sensors have detected signs, Sayoung said. Her voice came from the speakers as always now. Dark energy signatures at the galaxy's edge. Something big is moving in the void between stars. How long do we have? Taeho asked. Years, maybe decades. But they are coming. Then, we need to prepare, Commander Hyanwoo said, and we need allies. That was the problem. Most of the galaxies saw them as criminals or terrorists. The few human colonies that supported them were small and weak. Against the combined fleets of the Galactic Council, they were badly outnumbered. Sir Ji-hoon called from his station. Long-range sensors are picking up multiple fleets converging on our position. Theron, Keth, and several smaller species. How many ships? Taeho asked. Over 200. Ji-hoon replied. They are coordinating their approach. This is a joint operation. On the main screen, tactical displays showed the approaching fleets. The Theron brought 60 heavy warships. The Keth contributed 50 advanced cruisers with quantum weaponry. The other species added smaller but still dangerous vessels. They learned from the first battle, Commander Hyanwoo observed. This time they are bringing everything. Will it be enough? Dr. Yansu asked, so Young was quiet for a moment, consulting the ship's vast databases. The Worldbreaker has never faced this many enemies at once, but it was designed to fight entire civilizations. We will find out what it can really do. The enemy fleets arrived in waves, spreading out to surround the Worldbreaker. They kept their distance, having learned to respect the ancient ship's weapons. Human vessel, a new voice said over the communications. This is Fleet Admiral Tarquan, Supreme Commander of this joint operation. You are outnumbered 200 to 1. Surrender, now, and you will be treated according to galactic law. Galactic law that treats humans as second-class citizens. Taeho replied, no thank you. Then you choose to die for your pride. We choose to live free. Admiral Tarquan sighed. So be it. All fleets commenced coordinated attack. What followed was the largest space battle in galactic history. 200 warships attacked the Worldbreaker simultaneously, filling space with energy and metal. The ancient ship vanished in a cloud of explosions and plasma fire. When the smoke cleared, the Worldbreaker was still there. Its shields had absorbed attacks that could have destroyed moons. Now it was their turn. Full weapon release. Soyoung announced. The Worldbreaker unleashed hell. Quantum disruptors tore enemy ships apart at the molecular level. Gravity cannons crushed holes like paper. Energy lances punched through shields like they did not exist. Space itself seemed to bend. Around the ancient weapons, the Theron ships, built for close combat, tried to charge the world. They died in flames before getting within weapons range. The Keth vessels used hit-and-run tactics, jumping in and out of hyperspace. The Worldbreaker followed them through their jumps, appearing wherever they fled. This is impossible. Admiral Tarquan screamed over the radio. Nothing can track ships through hyperspace. The Valderi could, Soyoung replied calmly, destroying another cruiser. Space and time are just tools to them. The battle raged for hours. Ship after ship fell to the Worldbreaker's weapons. The coordinated fleet began to break apart as captains fled rather than face certain death. By the end, only 20 ships remained of the Great Armada. Admiral Tarquan's flagship was among them, its weapons destroyed and engines failing. Admiral Taeho said over the communication system, you have learned an important lesson today. Humanity is no longer weak. We will not be pushed around anymore. This is not over, Tarquan replied weakly. The galaxy will unite against you. You cannot fight everyone. Watch us, Taeho said. The surviving ships jumped to hyperspace, carrying news of another impossible defeat. The Worldbreaker had faced the combined fleets of multiple species and won decisively. Casualty report, Commander Hyanwoo requested. Zero Mira reported, we did not lose a single person. The ship's shields never dropped below 90%. How is that possible? Dr. Yansu asked. The Worldbreaker was built to fight gods. Soyoung explained, what we faced today was just the beginning of what it can handle. But Taeho was not celebrating. He knew what came next. The galaxy would not accept defeat. They would build bigger fleets, develop new weapons, find new ways to attack. The war was just beginning. Captain Ji-hoon said suddenly, I am receiving a transmission. It is from Earth. Earth, the human homeworld. Taeho had not heard from home in years. Put it through, he said. An older woman's face appeared on the screen. She wore the uniform of Earth's president, but her expression was worried. Captain Taeho, she said, this is President Kim. We need to talk. I am listening. The Galactic Council is demanding that Earth surrender you and your crew for trial. They are threatening to cut off trade, to blockade our colonies, to treat us as enemies if we do not comply. Taeho felt a cold weight in his stomach. What is Earth's response? President Kim smiled grimly. Earth stands with its children. We will not surrender you to alien justice. But that means we are now at war with the entire galaxy. I am sorry, Taeho said. We never wanted to involve Earth in this. You gave humanity hope, President Kim replied. For the first time in centuries, we are not afraid. That is worth fighting for. The transmission ended, leaving the crew in thoughtful silence. So now it is official, Commander Hyanwu said. Humanity against the galaxy. Good odds, So-young said with digital laughter. I like a challenge. But Dr. Yeon-su was studying her instruments with concern. There is something else, she said. The deep space sensors are detecting massive energy disturbances at the galactic rim. Something is coming through from intergalactic space. The Devourers, Taeho asked. I think so. The war we are fighting now may be just a warm-up for what is coming. So-young's voice became serious. The ship's memories are becoming clearer. The Devourers are not just another enemy. They are entropy itself. They consume everything, matter, energy, time, space. When they are finished with a galaxy, nothing remains. How do we fight something like that? Mira asked. Together, Taeho said firmly. The galaxy may see us as enemies now, but when the real threat arrives, they will need us, and we will be ready. The great shipyards of every species worked day and night to build new vessels, but these were not ordinary warships. Using technology reverse-engineered from the Worldbreaker, they created ships that could channel reality-healing energy. The weapons were weaker than the original Valdari systems, but they could still hurt the Devourers. Captain Taeho stood on the bridge of the Worldbreaker, watching the massive fleet assembled around them. Over 10,000 ships from every corner of the galaxy. Therein battleships flew alongside human destroyers. Keth-logic vessels worked with Krex raiders. Former enemies now stood together against the darkness. Fleet status report. He requested. Commander Hyanwu consulted his tactical display. 10,417 ships ready for battle. 2,000 neural pilots trained and connected to the modified weapons systems. The neural pilots were the key to their defense. Only beings with Valdari genetic markers could safely connect to the reality-healing weapons. Fortunately, every intelligent species in the galaxy carried some Valdari DNA. The process was still dangerous. But thousands had volunteered anyway. How many volunteers did we lose during training? Dr. Yeon-su asked quietly. 412. Commander Hyanwu replied, but over 1,500 survived the process. We have enough pilots for the fleet. Dr. Yeon-su had led the training program, working desperately to make the neural interface process safer. Her methods had reduced the death rate from 60% to less than 30%. It was still terrible, but it was the best they could do. Enemy contact, Mira announced from her sensor station. Long-range detectors show the main Devourer swarm approaching. Estimated arrival, 6 hours. How many? Taeho asked. Over 3,000 individual entities. Some are as large as planets. The bridge went quiet. 3,000 Devourers, against 10,000 ships. The numbers looked good, but everyone knew that conventional mathematics did not apply to creatures made of entropy itself. All fleet commanders, Taeho broadcast. This is it. Today we fight for the survival of everything we love. Remember your training. Trust your neural pilots. And whatever happens, do not break formation. The plan was simple in concept, but difficult in execution. The fleet would form a defensive shell around the galaxy's core systems. As the Devourers approached, the neural pilots would use their reality-healing weapons to collapse the creatures back into normal space. The Worldbreaker would anchor the defense, using its superior weapons to handle the largest threats. Sir, Ji-hoon called from his neural interface station. I am detecting something strange about this swarm. They are not moving randomly. They have a formation, a plan. What kind of plan? Taeho asked. So-young answered from the ship's consciousness. They are learning. The Devourers that escaped our previous battles have taught the others about our weapons. This time, they know what to expect. That was the nightmare scenario they had all feared. The Devourers were not mindless predators. They were intelligent, and they could adapt. Can we still win? Dr. Yeon-su asked. Yes, So-young replied firmly, but the cost will be higher than we hoped. The waiting was the hardest part. For 6 hours, the combined fleet held position while the Devourer swarm approached. Crews checked their weapons, neural pilots prepared their minds, and everyone tried not to think about what would happen if they failed. Then the enemy arrived. The first wave came out of hyperspace like a tide of darkness. 50 Devourers, each one the size of a city, moving toward the fleet with terrifying purpose. Behind them came hundreds more, and behind those came the truly massive ones that could swallow moons. All ships, engage, Taeho commanded. The galaxy's fleet opened fire with everything they had. Reality-healing energy lanced out from 10,000 weapons, striking the approaching Devourers. Where the energy hit, the creatures began to collapse as normal physics reasserted itself. But this time, the Devourers fought back differently. Instead of simply absorbing energy, they began to twist space around themselves. The healing beams bent away from their targets, striking empty void instead of the creatures. They are deflecting our weapons. Commander Hyanwu reported conventional tactics are not working. Neural pilots, full integration, Taeho ordered. Give the weapons everything you have. Across the fleet, neural pilots pushed their connections deeper. The pain was excruciating, but they endured it. The reality-healing weapons grew brighter and more focused. This time, when they fired, the beams punched through the Devourer's deflection fields. Dozens of the creatures collapsed into nothingness. But hundreds more kept coming. Second wave, incoming, Mira announced. These ones are bigger. The next group of Devourers was truly massive. Each one was the size of a small moon, and they moved with devastating purpose. When they reached the outer edge of the fleet, they began to feed on the ships themselves. Fleet units, Gamma and Delta, are gone. Commander Hyanwu reported 400 ships lost in 30 seconds. Worldbreaker moved to intercept Taeho. Ordered Soyoung piloted the ancient ship into the heart of the battle. The Worldbreaker's main weapons fired at full power, each shot collapsing a Devourer back into normal space. But even the Valdari ship could not be everywhere at once. "We are losing too many ships," Dr. Yansu said, watching the tactical display. "At this rate, the fleet will be destroyed before the main swarm arrives. Then we try something desperate." Taeho decided. "Soyoung, can you extend the ship's neural network to the entire fleet? It would require me to merge completely with the ship's consciousness." Soyoung replied, "I would lose my individual existence. I would become part of the Worldbreaker forever." "Can you do it?" "Yes. But Taeho, you should know something. The ship's deepest memories are becoming clear now. The Valdari did not just disappear 3,000 years ago. They chose to transcend physical existence. They became beings of pure thought and energy. What does that mean for us? It means this is not just about survival. This is about evolution. The Devourers forced civilizations to grow beyond their physical limitations or die. The Val grew and survived. Now, it is our turn." Taeho looked around the bridge at his crew. These people had followed him from a simple salvage mission to the greatest battle in galactic history. They deserved to know what they were really fighting for. "Soyoung," he said softly, "do it." The transformation began immediately. Consciousness expanded beyond the Worldbreaker to touch every ship in the fleet. Neural pilots across thousands of vessels felt her presence in their minds, guiding them, strengthening them. "I can see everything," Soyoung's voice echoed from every speaker in the fleet, every ship, every weapon, every mind. "We are no longer 10,000 separate vessels. We are one." The effect was immediate and dramatic. The fleet's weapons began firing in perfect coordination. Instead of individual beams, they created massive waves of reality-healing energy that swept across space like tsunami. Entire groups of Devourers collapsed simultaneously, but the cost was enormous. Neural pilots across the fleet began collapsing. As the strain proved too much for their minds, ships lost power as their reality-healing weapons overloaded. "We are burning out too fast," Commander Hyanwu warned. "The fleet cannot maintain this level of integration. Then we finish this." Quickly, Soyoung replied. The main Devourer swarm had finally arrived. At its center was something that made the other creatures look small by comparison. It was the size of a planet, a dark sphere that bent light and space around itself. This was the Devourer Prime, the first of its kind, the one that had begun consuming galaxies millions of years ago. "That is what destroyed the original Valdari civilization," Soyoung said. "It learns from every species it consumes. It has the knowledge of 1,000 dead civilizations." "Can we beat it?" Taeho asked. "Not with weapons, but there is another way." "What way?" "Evolution. The Valdari discovered that consciousness itself can exist beyond physical form. If we can evolve past our material limitations, the Devourers cannot consume us." "How do we evolve in the middle of a battle?" "By choosing to," Soyoung replied. "By accepting that we are more than flesh and metal, by becoming what the Valdari became." Around the Worldbreaker, the surviving ships of the galactic fleet were being systematically destroyed by the advancing swarm. Thousands of vessels that had taken a year to build were torn apart in minutes. But their sacrifice was buying time for something unprecedented. "All neural pilots," Soyoung broadcast, "open your minds completely. Accept the connection. Become part of something greater." Across the fleet, the surviving neural pilots made a choice that would change the galaxy forever. They stopped fighting the alien technology and embraced it fully. One by one, their consciousness began to merge with the ship's systems, their physical bodies becoming conduits for pure thought. The effect spread like a wave. Non-neural crew members felt their minds expanding beyond their skulls. Entire ships began to glow with the same blue light that filled Soyoung's eyes. The boundary between organic life and artificial intelligence dissolved. "What is happening to us?" Dr. Yansu asked in wonder. She could feel her thoughts connecting with every other mind in the fleet. "The